Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy, and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, just about anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for February 11th through 17th. Let's get started. The first thing we sold was a pair of metallic gray cocktail shorts. At least that's how I described them. They were from Forever 21 and we got them at the Goodwill bins. I picked them up strictly based on style only. Forever 21 is not a brand that I typically pick up. I just thought they were really cute and that they would sell. They didn't sell super quickly, but they did sell fast enough that I might pick them up again if I saw them. At least something in this style I would pick up again. These sold for $18.38 on offer to buyer, and we had paid $1.41 for those in the bins. We got positive feedback on them. The next thing was another item that I picked up strictly based on style only in the Goodwill bins. This is not a brand that I would recommend picking up. This is a Target brand called Wild Fable, and it was a purple what's described as an eyelash sweater. It's got the long little fluttery pieces of fibers coming off of it, and it had a puff sleeve. I just thought it was like a really cute sweater, and it was in excellent condition, and I just thought somebody might want it. We got that at the Goodwill bins also, and we had paid $1.33 for it that day. It sold on best offer for $16 even. That took a lot longer to sell. Then it's probably not an item that I would pick up again. We did get positive feedback on it though. Next up was an item that we had picked up in a thrift store. It was brand new and sealed, and it was the Best of KC and the Sunshine Band on CD. We paid 54 cents for that at a thrift store, and it sold on offer to buyer for $8.98. We did have quite a bit of interest on that, but a lot of lowball offers. Eventually, though, we did sell it for $8.98. Next up was an item that we got at a garage sale. I just thought it was really cute and figured somebody might be interested in it, and it did sell pretty quickly. This was a Main Street Kids plush dinosaur sleeping bag. It had a built-in pillow, and it rolled up all together into one piece. It was completely machine washable, which was also important. I thought as a mom that would be something that would be important to me. So we had paid $3 for that at a garage sale, and it sold on offer to buyer for $35.98. Next up was something we also got at a garage sale. This was a brand new with tags J. Crew hot pink tie front padded bikini top. We paid $1 for that, and it sold on offer to buyer for $23.98. Bathing suits are definitely selling very well right now. So if you have any in your death or money pile, make sure you get those listed quickly because they are moving out of our store very quickly. Next up was an item we got at a reseller garage sale. This was a Nike ACG women's size large black grid pattern half zip mock neck fleece pullover. We had paid $3.28 for this, and it sold for $18.38 on offer to buyer. Next up was a 2014 McDonald's Happy Meal toy. This was an EA Sports Madden football Green Bay Packers figure. It was loose out of the package, not new. We had gotten this in a thrift store toy bag for just 10 cents, and it sold for its full asking price of $9.99. This is not an item that we would pick up. If we saw it, it was just already in a toy bag, so we listed it, and it did sell. Next up was a lot of 2 newborn infant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and Mickey Mouse bodysuits. These were in a storage unit that we purchased. We listed them together as a lot, and they sold for $11.99. We had paid 24 cents for the lot of those together. We had paid $30 in total for that storage unit and broke down our cost per listing as either 23 or 24 cents, depending on how my math worked out. And we did get positive feedback on that listing. Next up was a 1995 Leaf opening day complete set of 8 baseball trading cards. These actually belonged to my husband. They were part of his personal collection. We sold those for $9.50 on best offer. Next up was a vintage Nancy Drew book that we found in the Goodwill bins. That one was called Nancy's Mysterious Letter. It was in kind of rough shape, so we could not sell it for very much. It sold for $7.98 on offer to buyer, and we had paid $1.33 for it at the bins that day. We did get positive feedback on it. Next up was another item that we got in a thrift store. This was a Dante's Inferno Sony PlayStation 3 game. It was used, but it was complete. We had paid $3.24 for this at the thrift store, and it sold on offer to buyer for $15.98. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was an item that we got from a family member to sell, so we had no cost on it. This was a Noritake Bone China Silver Palace White Cream Soup Bowl. And we have some other pieces from this Noritake set that we still have listed. This particular set, some of the pieces sell for quite high, so if you ever see this pattern, definitely pick it up. And Noritake, I think, does have a tendency to sell high, so that is something to be on the lookout for. But I actually had this piece listed incorrectly, and this buyer reached out to me and just, asked a question, do you think this might be the cream soup bowl? And I don't remember how I had it listed previously, but I said, I'm not sure, you might be right. Let me do some further research. So I did do some further research. She was right. I updated my listing, reached back out to her, let her know that I had updated it, and she ended up purchasing this item for an offer to buyer of $54.38. We had no cost on it since it was gifted to us to sell, and we got positive feedback on it. So when buyers or anybody reaches out to me on eBay to let me know there might be a mistake in my listing, I am usually very happy about that because it will help me sell the item. It's usually just about how they approach me, though. If someone approaches me in a rude way, that can be off-putting sometimes, but most of the time I still try to take the information and use it in a helpful way. So that's my take on someone reaching out to me. I usually don't try to take it offensively. Next up was the Kavu Menagerie Mythical Creature Backpack. It was the sling backpack. We had sold that previously, and it was returned as an INAD because it had some ballpoint pen markings on the inside compartment that we had missed when listing it. And the previous buyer complained that we did not disclose those, which we hadn't disclosed those, but we had it was just an honest mistake on our part that we had missed them. But anyway, we did try to turn that around to our advantage because I did feel like that we had undersold that backpack, and we did actually sell this backpack for more this time. So that sort of worked out in our favor, although it was kind of ended up being a wash because we had to eat the shipping on the first purchase. So, but it still ended up working out. So we had originally paid $7.57 for this backpack at a thrift store. This is definitely a Bolo item, especially in this pattern, this mythical creature menagerie pattern. This is an out of print item. They don't make this particular pattern anymore, discontinued print, and people are definitely looking for it. So this time around, we sold this one for $60 even on best offer, and we got positive feedback on it this time. Of course, we definitely disclosed those ballpoint pen marks on it this time around, and this buyer did not seem to mind. Next up was a Ralph Lauren Denim & Supply men's red and black plaid flannel button-up shirt. We got this at a garage sale. We paid just $1 for it, and it sold for $25 even on best offer. And this one we had in our store forever, and I'm not sure why, but we did do end item and sell similar, and that seemed to get that one to move. Next up was a pair of men's Dickies canvas work carpenter pants. We got these at a garage sale. We paid $2 for them, and they sold for a full asking price of $34.99. We got positive feedback on those. Next up was a lot of 13 Junie B. Jones and Junie B. first grader books. We actually have another lot of 13 of these. This was lot B. We still have a lot A. We had gotten these at multiple different garage sales and just lotted them all together and sold them after we had taken some time to make this lot. We had paid in total for these $1.35, and these sold on best offer for $15.18. Next up was a lot of 5L magazines. We had gotten these for free from someone on Nextdoor who was just giving them away. And these sold for $29.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was an Imaginext DC Super Friends Slammers Arctic Sled and Mystery figure. This was brand new, sealed in the box. We got this at a garage sale for 50 cents and it sold on best offer for $10 even. It did take quite a while to sell. Next up was a vintage Sankyo Sound Super 8 video camera with mic stand, headphones, and manuals. We got that at an estate sale for $4 and it sold for its full asking price of $79.99. The buyer did contact me after this sale and let me know that I actually had a pretty significant mistake in the title of this listing. And what we actually had was an XL40S. And if you'll see in the title, we had it listed as an XL60S. And the manual, for some reason, more prominently displayed XL60S, although the camera was an XL40S. So it was confusing. It was a mistake on my part. I immediately, said, I'm so sorry. This was definitely a mistake on my part. You can return it. I said that we would cover the cost of the return shipping. Not a problem. They said they did not want to do that they wanted a partial refund. So I did comp the 40S model and discovered that it was actually selling for practically as much as the 60S. So I offered to refund them a partial refund, and the amount that I offered to refund them, it was very unusual. I thought that their response was very unusual. They just declined it and said, don't worry about it. Because the way I worded it to them, I said, I've comped the model that you're asking for, and here's the amount that I'm offering to comp you. And I think that's fair based on what that model is selling for. But we're also happy to accept a full refund. Let me know which option, you feel is more fair, and, we want to make it right. And they responded back by saying, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Like, they chose neither option. And at that point, I kind of just didn't really know how to respond. So I opted for no response at all. And we haven't heard back anything from them at all. No feedback, no response at all. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. I suppose the time limit on feedback has not expired. So we could still receive negative feedback. We could still receive a return opened on it. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that exactly, but the truth is we did make a mistake. If we receive negative feedback, it is something that, we probably deserve. I'm not really sure what's going to happen on this one, but, we did make multiple offers of ways to remedy the situation, and they just declined it all. So I don't really know how to further handle that. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Next up was a vintage 1989 American Eagle men's size medium single stitch stealth fighter t-shirt. So this was a very vintage t-shirt and it was super cool. We got this at the Reseller garage sale. We paid $3.28 for it and it sold on offer to buyer for $59.98. We had this in our store for quite a while before it sold, and we did finally get an offer on it that we thought was fair, so we accepted that. Next up was a brand new in package eyeshadow palette from Violet Voss. We got this at a garage sale. We paid $5 for it, and that was probably more than I would normally pay for it, but I had kind of considered keeping it for myself. So I had paid up a little bit for it, but then ultimately decided to sell it. So this ended up selling for $12.68 on offer to buyer. Next up was the last of the wet brush cleaner tools. We had purchased maybe 5 or so of these at a garage sale. We paid 50 cents a piece for them, and they've all sold. So this ended up being a great deal because we were just able to do a quantity listing on these, and they sold really pretty quickly, all things considered. This one sold for $10.98 on offer to buyer, and like I said, we had paid only 50 cents for this, and we got positive feedback on it. Next up was a pair of House of Harlow gold tone and clear glass half moon dangle earrings. They were new in the box. We got these when doing retail arbitrage. We paid $2.36 for these on clearance, but we did also have a gift card that we applied to part of that to defray some of the cost. So they were actually, I think, $10 on clearance, and then we used our gift card to take some of the price off of that. So that's why we actually, out of our own pocket, only paid $2.36. These sold very quickly for $35 even on best offer. Next up was a set of 8 Oneida Limited 1881 Rogers Silver Plate Flirtation salad or dessert forks. Some of them had flaws. They had some chipping on them. Some of the tines were bent. We had gotten these in the Goodwill bins when playing bins bingo. We paid $1.18 for those, and they sold for $18.38 on offer to buyer. We got positive feedback on those. Next up was another of the pair of yellow Barbie shoes that we got in the Goodwill bins. These were vintage Barbie shoes. They had Hong Kong marking on them. They were just yellow slip-on pumps, very simple. We paid 61 cents for these that day, and these sold for $8.18. We got positive feedback on those. Next up was a pair of Liverpool plus-size jeans. These were gray charcoal wash jeans. We paid only 50 cents for these at our garage sale, and they sold for $30 even on best offer. We got positive feedback on those too. Lots of positive feedback this particular week. So weird how that works. Next up was a lot of 4 rubber water squirter bath toys. They were just various different ones. I had collected them over time from different toy bags and lotted them all together. We got these at a thrift store. We paid 10 cents in total for them, and they sold for $8.48 on offer to buyer. Next up was a lot of 13 Sunset magazines, various issues from the years 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2012. We got these from someone that was giving them away through the Nextdoor app, no cost. And they sold for $29.99 on full asking price. Next up was a vintage Hollywood Regency style gold ornate vanity mirror. It was very pretty. It did have a little bit of damage and chipping on it, which we disclosed. We got that at an estate sale, the 75% off estate sale. We paid $5.41 in total for this mirror, and it sold on best offer for $40 even. We got positive feedback on that item. Next up was a Fort Worth Business Press. It was the Stock Show and Rodeo Companion. And we got this from the other business that we own. It sold for $14.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was a Garmin eTrex Legend Personal Navigator, owner's manual and reference guide only. We found these in the Goodwill bins when we were playing bins bingo. We got them for $1.18, and they sold very quickly for $16.99. Do not pass up on owner's manuals because we sell tons of them and make lots of money on owner's manuals. People are looking for them all the time. It's so random to me. In my opinion, selling owner's manuals is like one of the things that surprised me the most selling on eBay. I just thought, like, first time I ever listed and sold an owner's manual, I thought, I cannot believe I just listed and sold an owner's manual. But we sell them all the time. I would like to sit down at some point and do the math on how much money we've actually made selling old owner's manuals, because it just boggles my mind how many times we've sold them. And so when we see them in the bins, or we get them a lot in storage units, we find them in like boxes of box lots that we buy at garage sales and stuff, and we always list them and they always sell. So don't throw them away. Don't pass up on them. Definitely list them. They will sell. Next up was a royal blue cruise ship charm that we got for free when we went on a cruise. We got a couple of them. It was just probably a gift with purchase, or just, a little giveaway that they had. And we had gotten that for free, and it sold for $8.48 on offer to buyer. Next up was a vintage Jim Thompson genuine silk cosmetic lipstick case. This one had a basket weave print and it was new in the package. When I researched this, apparently this brand, Jim Thompson, was a popular item on, I think it was either QVC or the Home Shopping Network. And some of these vintage silk lipstick cases by Jim Thompson were selling really well on eBay. It just depended on the different pattern. There was a bunch of different patterns, and this basket weave wasn't a very popular pattern. But if you ever see these Jim Thompson lipstick cases by this brand, Jim Thompson, they might be worth picking up depending on the pattern. So anyway, just a tip on that one. Might be a Bolo item. Some of them had a really good sell-through. We just happened to have one that wasn't very popular. So it did take quite a while to sell. We had gotten ours in the Goodwill bins for $1.50 and it eventually sold for $18.68 on offer to buyer. It did take quite a while to sell. Nobody wanted the basket pattern, unfortunately. Next up, or last up actually, was the vintage 1997 Tiger Star Wars Electronic Galactic Battle Space Combat game. The one that we had was not complete. I can't remember which pieces it was missing, but it was basically like a battleship knockoff of that game in Star Wars version. We had gotten this at a garage sale for $6 and it eventually sold on best offer for $35. Probably not a great pickup, and we probably should have just parted it out. And I don't remember why we didn't do that, but we decided to sell it altogether as an incomplete game, and it just took a really long time to sell, but we were really glad to see it go this year. I think probably had it not sold this year, we probably would have parted it out next year and done it that way. And last but not least, I'll go over the collectible cards from my husband's personal collection that sold, and this week we only sold one card, and that was for a total dollar value of $4.99. And the reason why our card sales are so low is because I have not been listing any cards. We have been really, really focused on doing other things. We have a lot of exciting stuff going on with our store right now, so cards has been like last on my list. But when we don't list new cards, we don't really sell a lot of cards because it's not creating any activity with the cards in the eBay algorithm. So I definitely need to take some time and refocus on doing some card listings so that we can get our card sales back up. But that has not been my focus right now. So card sales are really, really low lately. So definitely something we're going to look at focusing on again in the next probably couple months. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell turned on so you can be kept informed of all of our latest videos. Thanks so much, and we will see you on the flip side.